So we're at Shan's, right? I was there for 3 weeks, like I said. You got the trach, you got the G2 put in, you got the fundus. Not to mention, Gainesville is a sketchy fucking city. We stayed at the Ronald McDonald House. Sketchy fucking people. The crazy part about it is, what I don't understand is, I know a lot of scumbags back home, right? A lot of scumbags. Vermont, if you guys don't know, this is a little off topic from the story that I'm currently telling, but if you guys don't know, last couple of years, Vermont has the worst heroin epidemic in the country. Seriously, it's bad. I know, I lived it. Not, I didn't live it. I've never been addicted to heroin. I've never done heroin. I've never even seen it in my life. But I have a lot of friends that have. Good portion of my friends from back home are recovered heroin addicts. Dan Green, buddy, if you're watching these, I might have to send you this at some point, let you know that I'm doing this. But Dan, you're my bro, and I've never told you this enough. I'm so proud of you for kicking it. I think he's been clean at this point now, maybe 4 or 5 years. Solid on you, bro. Great on you. I mean, it's great. And you know, he was addicted for years and years and years, and he's finally clean from it, which I'm really proud of him for. He's a great guy. He's an artist, and he's an artist. He makes sculptures and stuff. He's weird and creepy, and if you like that weird, creepy, dark Tim Burton-y kind of shit, you'll love his stuff. It's just he likes the weird, odd stuff. He's just a giant hippie. He's fucking awesome. One of my best buddies. I haven't seen him in years, but well, since I moved, I haven't seen him. But I think he's actually living in Seattle now, so he's way on the outside of the country. But yeah, the people that were there really they seemed scummy like that, like drug addicts, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I didn't want to say I was better than them, because I'm not, but I kind of felt like I don't belong here. Like, these people, some of them didn't even know who the parents of their children were, and oh, it's like one of a few people. I'm like, okay, you have it narrowed down to 3 people? How big of a fucking slut are you? And I don't think I met one of them that had a job, and by them I mean the mothers generally. There was 2 there at the time we lived in the Ronald McDonald House that were in a relationship. One of them was married, one of them wasn't. Both of their boyfriends did work. They did not, which in that sense, I don't think there's anything issue with that. But the other ones were single parents. Do you know what they did for money? They were welfare artists. They drew welfare. I don't believe in that. I believe in welfare, but I believe that the welfare system is flawed. It should be there for people who need it, but it should be monitored more so that people can't abuse it. And I feel there are far more people in this country that abuse welfare than use it for its actual intended purpose. I've never been on welfare. I refuse to be. I have not been in a position, even when I was in Vermont, when I was doing that bad financially, because I was not a drug addict, but because I fucking smoked pot so much. Because all I knew, I'm like, I don't need welfare. I need to stop smoking pot. If I stop smoking pot, I might be able to afford things. That was my logic. That's why I'm not applying for it. No, because there's things that I can do in my life to change that could probably give me as much money as welfare without me having to get it from the state. I'm a proud person. Maybe that's downfall. Good thing, bad thing, I don't know. Pride can be a bad thing. I know pride technically is a sin for you Christians out there. Pride's a sin. You need to not be proud. You need to praise Jesus and pray to him, and he'll get you all your shit will be taken care of because Jesus loves you. Anyway, sorry, I'm doing like a fucking southern accent with people down here. Anyway, fucking light Sprite. So we're at Shan's, and we're there for 3 weeks. I think he was there for, I said 6. I don't know if it's 6. I have to ask Katie. She knows more than me. But I was there for 3 weeks, and Katie, I think, was there for another week or week and a half after I was. So it was probably 4 or 5 weeks he was there. So he gets the trach. Got a ventilator. He still has it. Those are the main points of, not the main, there's more. I mean, I'm starting to draw a blank now, but those are the main things that his issues are. He's got he's got the chromosomal syndrome, it's Noonan's. He's got the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is the heart problem, with the wall of the ventricle, and he had preemie lung disease, which is what they call it. It's premature lung disease. Many preemie babies suffer from it. Like I said, they also call it wimpy white boy syndrome. Some babies die of that, which is crazy. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like SIDS in that they don't really know why it happens. It's just some babies, and it's generally, like I said, white male babies. They just aren't strong enough. They just don't survive for whatever reason. And it's unexplainable by medical science at this point. So, but that's just basically my son's story in a nutshell. There's more to it. I may touch on these points again as I remember more things, because I haven't started writing stuff down for this channel yet. Like when I make videos, I've kind of just off the cuff. Like I said, I just pick up my phone, I bring out the camera, I hit video, I hit record, and I just talk. Whatever comes out, comes out. Which is why I tend to jump around and get off topic a lot, which I apologize for. If that makes this harder, if that's harder for you guys to watch, please let me know. Please put a comment and let me know, because if you don't leave a comment, I'm not going to know. And I want to know, because I want to get better at this, and I want to do better at this, and I want to make content that it's easy for you guys to watch, that you guys like, that is enjoyable. And if me, like that, I was told my volume on my voice, I need to be more consistent with the volume and not go up and down, because I just talk normally, and sometimes I talk quiet and I kind of go up and down with my tone and my inflection and my volume. So I'm trying to do more of talking slower and at a consistent volume level, so that it's easier to understand, especially because I'm using a cell phone camera and microphone right now, which, I mean, I have an iPhone SE, which is basically like a 7. It's the size of a 5, but it's got all the bells and whistles of the newer, maybe not the newest, but one of the newer ones. So I have a pretty decent phone. It's got a pretty, as you can tell, I mean, the camera's not bad. I mean, I look pretty decent. I mean, I look like shit because I work today, but I mean, the quality's decent. The quality's good enough, I think, for now, at least for this purpose, for the purposes of this. But yeah, that's my son's issues in a nutshell. The goals going forward, like I said, are by the end of the year to have him off the vent completely. Was it the end of the year? End of the year, spring. I can't exactly remember. I know there's I was thinking my personal goal was end of the year, but I think we'll say spring. My hair's a little messy. By spring, they want him off the vent completely. And by vent, I mean the breathing machine. He's still going to have the trach. He's also got something called a Passimir valve, which goes on his trach. It's like a butterfly valve. So he can breathe in through it, but he can't breathe out through his trach. So it forces it, he can breathe, go, so it opens, and then when he exhales, he has to exhale through his mouth or his nose. He can't exhale through his trach like he usually does. And that's it's to teach him how to breathe. When you do, when I did Taekwondo as a kid, it was in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. When you do meditation or something like that. But so he's been, and when he first was on it, he didn't like it very well, but he's been doing pretty decent on it now. He's on it for about an hour. We put it in line, which is when we put it on his trach, and then we take the actual breathing tube and put that over it so that he's actually getting the oxygen through it, so he's not freaking out so much because he's got that extra pressure and the extra oxygen. But he still has to breathe out through his nose or his mouth, so it's teaching him how to properly breathe, which is good. He's not eating yet. Not normally. He eats through a tube, not through his mouth. I think that's going to be a bit of a hurdle for him, because we've tried for a lot. We've been working the last 6 months to get him to start to eat something. We have little puddings and yogurts and whatnot. By the way, just so you guys know, Tess did just text me on here. She said something about how I tell a lot of dad jokes. I do. I'm a dad. I tell dad jokes. Hell, I want to go to Pensacon this year dressed as Dadpool. Not Deadpool, Dadpool. I want a Deadpool costume, and I want a utility belt that has baby wipes, diapers, and baby bottles. And I want to put my son on a front pack and walk around Pensacon with him and be like a Dadpool, which I think that'll be kind of funny and hilarious. Everyone I've talked to says that they think that's a really good idea. Tess actually said, hey, for your channel, you should just dress up like Deadpool and do shit with your, go out in public and do stuff with your son just to fuck with people. And I'm like, that sounds like a fucking blast. And if I could ever find a legitimate full Deadpool bodysuit that's not $1 million, maybe not, that's an exaggeration. I don't think they're that expensive, but I'm sure they're a lot of money. And I can afford it, I will do that. And I will totally run around Pensacola dressed as Deadpool and just fuck with people. That sounds like a blast. Then again, I might get shot by a black person or something because, I don't know, sometimes people just don't have a sense of humor. But yeah. So, all in all, to summarize this I'm thinking this is probably like 8 videos at this point. So it's probably going to be like a fucking shit. It's probably going to be like a 2 hours. Like, it's probably going to take at least 2 hours to watch all of this. Like, that's why I tell people I don't tell his full story at work, because it takes a solid half hour. It takes a solid hour to tell the whole story. And there's even more to it. There's even more stuff, too, that I could talk about him. But those are the main points. Those are the main important ones that, everyone needs to know about his condition and what he's going through. But to summarize, he had a rough start. He's phenomenally better now. You'll see videos of him at some point on this channel. He's fucking adorable. He's smart. He's got a personality. He's a hell of a flirt. God, that kid flirts. He loves to flirt with girls. Oh my, and he loves boobs. Like, he pulls down every woman's shirt he can. He's a little pervert. I'm so proud. It's my boy. He loves boobies. Even though I've said I am an ass guy. I prefer booty to boobie. Oh, that rhymed. I like that. That's clever. I'm going to keep that. I prefer booty to boobie. I would rather have a girl with a nice ass and small titties than big tits and no ass. You have to have an ass. Like, that's a requirement for me. If you gotta, I'm like Sir Mix-a-Lot. Flat butts aren't the thing. If you look like a beanpole. Now, I'm not saying I don't like skinny girls, because I'm relatively skinny. I do tend to like smaller women. Kitty is not, she's not fat. She's not skinny. She's kind of average. She's a little bigger than she was before she was pregnant, but that makes sense. She had a baby. She's got some baby weight she needs to lose. Then what do you do? Big deal. What woman hasn't been there? She's actually lost a good amount of weight, and she's been, walking a little bit more and exercising and gardening and doing stuff, and she's been trying to do that to make herself feel better, and I'm very proud of her. I'm like, props to you. Good on you. If that's what you need to do to make yourself feel better, then more power to you. But that was just me. I just kind of, my mom was saying that she goes, oh, well, you need to, you should do something about Noonans in every video. You should say every little fact. And I'm like, no, I don't want my channel to be centered around that. I want to tell you guys about my son because I love my son and I talk about him a lot. And you're going to hear a lot about him. And people are going to be curious about what his issues are. So I figured I'd make a video or a series of videos about my son so that everyone can know, who wants to know, what happened with him, why he is the way he is, and what are the problems. Because, Noonans is actually really a very common chromosomal syndrome. It's one of those, like, everyone knows about Downs. Everyone knows about Down syndrome. Believe it or not, Down syndrome is the most common. Noonans is the second most common chromosomal syndrome in the world. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's very common. I think Downs is like 1 in 1,500 babies or something like that. And I think Noonans is like 1 in 35. Also, oddly enough, it's more common in the United Kingdom than here. There's not a lot of people. I think my son's like the only kid in the air in this whole like part of Florida, Alabama, Louisiana. I'm thinking of that one. Yeah, New Orleans, Louisiana. Yeah. Louisiana, that has it. I mean, it's not common around here, but in the UK, it's highly common. This is coming up in 15 minutes. I got about 40 seconds before I got to stop this. So that's it for now. That's Gideon's story in a nutshell. I mean, like I said, that's not everything. There's probably more stuff that I'll remember later on that I'll include, but that's the main points of my son. So for all of you guys who are interested, that's what happened. I'm the Cranky Yankee. I will see you again next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for wanting to know more about my son. I love y'all and have a safe day.